Well, hey there guys, welcome to episode 5 of Grow Your Expert Business Live. And we are here from Cyprus with, again, probably the world's worst internet connection. So when the weather gets a bit stormy, we might cut off for a few seconds, but then it'll jump back on. But anyway guys, today is what I have titled the State of the Expert Business Address, and this is talking about all about the upcoming changes that I see happening in our industry. If you're a coach, consultant, trainer, or expert author, speaker, over the next year and onwards, and some big things we've been changing in our business and so on. But before we get started, guys, just want to say we do go live every Monday. This will be the new start time. Going to be doing an hour from now on. I tried the first 4 episodes. We did half an hour, and the truth is, I can't say what I want to say in half an hour. So we're going to go for 1 hour shows from now on. So drop a comment first of all. Let's get the engagement up. And if you know someone who would benefit from this, you know, a solopreneur, a coach, trainer, tag them in this right now. Share this post on with them. And let's get some people onto this show. So we're going to kick off then. Pretty much there's a few things we're going to cover today. I'm going to go for a whole hour on this. So we're going to get deep into the way you market your coaching services and packages. We're going to talk about how sales is changing, how to enroll people into your programs. We're going to talk about how even delivering your programs can change, because there's a lot of changes hitting our industry from all sides. The first thing you've got to know is what's prompting all this kind of shake-up to begin with. And ultimately, it's the fact that our industry has grown. It's exploded in the last few years. You've probably seen the stats, you know, from Forbes.com and Entrepreneur and other places have talked about how the coaching consulting industry has just been booming and booming, which has some positives and it has some drawbacks. And the positives are, it means that more people than ever are looking for professional guidance when it comes to their health, their wealth, their relationships, their spirituality, whatever it is, the health, wealth, relationships industries, wherever you teach people. More people are looking for help. They're looking to pay out for coaches. You know, busy executives are getting stressed and burned out and are turning to coaches. People that have tried and failed at gyms and diet programs are now looking for personal trainers or semi-private training or boot camps. People who have up to this point ignored relationship worries and are looking for relationship coaches, or you know, people overall are just, you know, we're becoming a more spiritual race overall, and people are waking up and looking for spiritual guidance. These topics aren't as taboo as they were 10, 15 years ago. And this is great for us because this means that we finally get to do what we've always wanted to do. We get to share our topics. We don't sound like freaks as much anymore because now people know what we're talking about. And you get to make a fantastic living doing something that you love. The drawback of that, the other side of that, and it's not so much a negative, it's really how you look at it, but the other side of this is that in any industry, when there is big opportunity, then come opportunity seekers. Okay, opportunity seekers are going to come. And you may have already noticed this in your industry, whether you work online with people or if you have a local brick and mortar business. You've probably seen a lot of people popping up. You know, if you're in the fitness industry, there's boot camps and semi-private things everywhere. There's transformation centers everywhere. If you're online, you know, there's Facebook ads experts everywhere. There's marketing consultants anywhere. Everyone's a business expert these days by the looks of it, right? They all pop up at the same time. And this is because a lot of people want to hop onto your industry and they want to make a quick buck. They don't really have a passion for what they do. They don't really know much about the industry. They just think it's a quick way to make money. Oh, I can be a life coach, or I can be a digital marketing consultant, or I can be a business coach, because it looks easy and they think they can do it, and that's not the case. And it winds up a lot of coaches. You know, has it ever wound you up? I'd love to know in the comments. Have you, first of all, let me know, have you seen this trend? Have you seen more competitors in your area or in your niche, first of all? Drop a comment yes if you have, first of all, just so I know that we're on the same page here. And secondly, you know, have you noticed the rise of what I call the overnight expert? We see a lot of people, they do a quick course, they do something, and then they just try and, you know, take your content. Maybe they've copied your posts or your websites, things like that. We've all seen it to some degree. Okay, so that's pretty much what's happening right now. And today we're going to talk really all about how we get around that. How do you still position yourself in that? And what other changes does this bring? Right. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about there is that's the explosion of new people, and there's plenty of overnight experts that we can now need to contend with. And you need to show people that you are the real deal and that you have the best value to offer, because the market don't know any differently. And if the overnight experts are savvy marketers, then a lot of customers will go to them, get ripped off, get burned, get conned, or just not get a service as good as what you might be able to provide them. So that's the first thing. The second thing we will look at is the changing nature of when a market becomes saturated, when your customers, your prospects have seen the same thing over and over and over again, then it has a knock-on effect. You see, here's what's interesting. I'll give you a little history lesson, because a lot of people don't know this, but most of the marketing stuff you've probably learned, most of the books or the groups and the things you've done on marketing have mostly come, if you trace them all the way back, most of the marketing stuff that's taught to coaches and trainers today actually originated from the land of internet marketing, right? If we can trace it all back, especially in the fitness industry, and quite a lot in other industries too. If you trace back, if you take some of the top names in fitness marketing, for example, most of those guys originally learned from the top names in internet marketing about 10 to 12, maybe 15 years ago. And if you trace it all back, there's a big disconnect, because we go back to that time where you see, everyone was learning from a few big names. I'm not going to call out names, but the people in internet marketing in the early days, when the internet started getting really good and email marketing that was taking off, and people were doing $1 million launches and things like that in the internet marketing or IM space, you had these big names selling $27 ebooks, $9 a month subscription programs, and all things like that. Now what happened is they then started teaching other business owners how to market and use online tools. And somewhere along the way, there's been a disconnect, because most coaches and trainers I speak to who've learned marketing and things like that, they've actually been learning what they've got has come from internet marketing. So all they've been learning is the process and the methods that you would use to sell low ticket info products. Like trying to have the big long, like a big long sales page for something, or not gonna be hard on sales pages, but there's lots of different methods and tactics. And if you trace it back, these were used primarily to sell low ticket info products online, and somehow that's spilled across to the coaching industry. But you're not selling low ticket products, I guess. You're not selling $9 ebooks or $27 ebooks as such, at least not as your core offer. You're selling higher ticket coaching. You're selling a higher ticket service, not a low ticket product. It's very, very different. So over the years, this is all kind of spilled out, and a lot of coaches are struggling with their marketing because they're using the tactics and methods that were never really designed to help someone decide to make a big commitment to working with a coach. And that's one thing that's really happened here. And as you may have noticed over the last few years, these tactics and methods have become seen everywhere. People have seen them all. So, you know, you've all been there. You've been to landing pages that offer you like the free ebook, or watch my 90-minute webinar that's starting live in 10 minutes. And we all know it's not really live. These tactics have been done to death. Okay, and you and probably most people in your industry have seen it all. Now, 5, 6, 7 years ago, these things would work great because there were fewer people doing them. But now, since more and more people have jumped onto doing Facebook ads and things like that, and they've all, you know, more people have learned how to craft funnels together and things like that, it's just kind of been seen everywhere, and it's the same old thing all the time. So am I saying stop using funnels and stop using advertising? No, of course not. What I'm saying is you might want to look at adapting the message and how you do it. Some of the old, you know, copy and paste template models probably aren't going to fly the same way as they used to because people have now seen them 100 times. So overall for coaches, there's a big step up needed in how we communicate. So that's the second kind of area. The first area is the rising wave of fake experts to contend with. So you need to kind of stand out over them so people can see you're the real deal. Secondly, we've got this issue of most of the online marketing, internet marketing stuff has now been done to death. And so costs are rising dramatically for the same advertising. If you try a certain advert now, it'll cost you 10 times more than it did a few years ago because more people have seen it and they're not as responsive. So, you know, 5 years ago maybe you were promoting ads to a webinar, a 90-minute webinar, and maybe you were getting registrations for $3 or $4 each. Now, today, it's likely going to pay 3 to 5 times or more that amount. And a lot of coaches tell me they're quite shocked. They ran a Facebook ad a year ago, then they did nothing for a year because they were happy with the clients they had. And then all of a sudden they need clients again because a few walked out, and then they put the advert back on again and it bombs this time, or it costs them 20 times more and they're stuck because they relied so much on that one platform, that one tactic, that one method. And that's what we've got to avoid going forward. So we've got that kind of desensitization from the market to most of the marketing tricks and tactics that we've been taught. You know, the launch formulas and, you know, put someone through like a 16-part video series and all this kind of stuff. And because the market have become desensitized to it, that means they're less responsive to the adverts you put out, which means the cost of the adverts goes up for everyone. And that's why now getting someone to opt in an email address would have costed 50 cents to $1 5 years ago, maybe $3 a year ago, and probably $5 to $10 today. So if you're coming into the industry now, or you're just using paid advertising or Facebook ads for the first time now, you can't listen to people that are telling you what they did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, not even a year ago. You know, we've changed up our approach to advertising and content and funnels even within a year. And that's the problem. You can't look at like outdated things because the nature is changing so much. So that's the level of desensitization we've got to handle too. And then the third element to this is the rise of new technology. Right, there is lots of new technology coming out, which is leaving a lot of coaches feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, jumping from shiny object to shiny object, thinking they've got to use all the tools, and they don't know where to start, and they end up doing nothing. So have you ever been in that position before, where you get overwhelmed with tools, and it's like you don't want to take action on one thing until you get everything perfect. And you know that you never get everything together, right? And so nothing happens. And by the time nothing's happened, a new software or a new tool has come out anyway. Whether it's some kind of email integration or a messenger bot or Facebook Lives or Facebook Watch or YouTube live streams or all these different things coming out, right? So again, it's two sides. On the one hand, it's massive opportunity. There's massive opportunity in all of this. And there's also a massive downside if you don't know how to identify that opportunity, and if you don't know how to adapt your business and the way you do things, and mostly the way you communicate with your market. So basically, if we look at these three opportunities / challenges, we've got the opportunity that your market is growing. More people are looking for what you offer. The downside of that is there are more fake experts coming on the scene, diluting the message, and the market don't know who to trust. Then we've got the desensitization, that most of the marketing stuff that you go out there and try and learn, even if it has worked, or maybe if it's kind of working now, doesn't mean it's going to work in the future, because the market have now been bombarded with adverts and they're desensitized to the typical, funnels, and ad costs are going up, making it harder and harder for you to take advantage of the best platform in the world, Facebook. And on the third opportunity / challenge is the rise of new technology, automation, remarketing systems, and just marketing automation in general. And then the downside of that is that the opportunity is there's so many cool stuff we can be using to lower our costs, to get more sales, to have more free time with automation. The downside is, where do you start with all that stuff, and how do you even know what to do? So first of all, let me know in the comments if this is making sense so far and you kind of understand some of these challenges and opportunities that I'm talking about, because it can be quite frustrating knowing that these are good things and bad things depending on how you look at them. So my solutions to this, let's get into the solutions then. All right, so first of all, there's standing out over the fake experts, or the fexperts, we could call them, right? Standing out over them. Now, that is going to come down to a couple of things we'll talk about. Standing out over your market, okay? Now, this is really going to be down to your positioning, okay? What I call your expert authority positioning. So write that down. Expert authority positioning. You need to show the market, first of all, that you are a go-to expert in what you do, and you're also a trusted authority, okay? And we do this, the way you create this expert authority positioning is through having a solid content marketing strategy, okay? So content marketing has been around for a while, but I've been saying year after year, it's going to get more and more important. In fact, content marketing is so important that I now give content marketing a new name. I've now started calling content marketing, right? Because that's what it is. If you're an expert, if you can demonstrate your expertise, or you've got a powerful message to share, content marketing is the backbone of what you need to do. It's the backbone. There is no marketing without content marketing from 2018 going onwards. It's just not going to happen, because the best access you have to your prospects around the world is on social media. I think we can all agree on that. And social media, for all intents and purposes, the social media platforms want to give value and a good user experience to their customers. So they don't want to have just advert after advert after advert bombarding their prospects. They would much rather you provide engaging, thought-provoking, helpful, practical, relatable content to your audience. And when you do that, the platforms, whether it's Facebook, Google, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, they will reward you by giving you more reach. They'll share your content with more people because they'll track the engagement. They'll see if more people are engaging on this, that is an indicator that it's useful and it's not spam. And therefore, we will then share it to more people who have similar interests to those people that are watching. That's why we're doing things like live streams like this, or podcasts, or video marketing, anything like that, because it gets people engaged And that's why, I'm very grateful, and that's why I ask for any likes, I ask you to comment, I ask you to share this show on, because the more engagement that I get on this, the more Facebook be my friend. And they help me get this show out there to more people. And the more people watch it, the more my business grows, and the more I can afford to do more of these shows and reinvest in helping you even more. You see, so it's a win-win situation. So on that note, by the way, guys, if you're liking this so far, give me a like, give me a like, a love, something. Drop a comment, and again, share this or tag someone you know that needs to hear this kind of content. So that's the first step, okay? Content marketing. You've got to have a solid content marketing strategy. Now, I go very deep into content marketing. I've built 6-figure businesses on the back of content marketing alone, with no direct advertising whatsoever. And I've really got my first 10K a month just consulting like this through mostly organic content on my Facebook personal profile. All right, just through using my personal Facebook profile, building up connections and people that are interested in my content, and practicing content every single day for 3, 4, 5 years, I've got pretty good at it. And so just last week, actually, I gave a training to my platinum clients inside my mastermind that outlined our entire content strategy for 2018. Now, that's a pretty big content strategy. So I just want to help you by giving you the quick, 5-minute gist. Okay, so first of all, so content marketing. Do you have a content marketing plan? And if not, is it going to be useful for me to run through some of my content strategy with you in the next 5 minutes? So let me know in the comments if that sounds good. If it does, then we'll get straight into some content marketing stuff. Okay, so, all right, so here we go, content marketing. So of course, this is a big subject. Like I said, we just taught this in a 90-minute training class to my students. But here's the thing, content marketing comes down to 3 major elements, all right? There's 3 things your content needs to do to be effective, right? And first of all, what does effective even mean? How do we know content marketing is working? Well, first thing is it's going to help your audience get to know, like, and trust you, right? They get to see you, they get to see that you're an expert, to see you're an authority, and they can trust your word. And you should be aiming to have your audience see you as the prime solution to their problems. Okay, so the second thing then content marketing needs to do is help you build lists and segment those audience, because different audience members from you will want different things. So if you're in the fitness industry, for example, some people might be needing more help with nutrition, and maybe they're fine with exercise. Or maybe other people are really good with their nutrition is fine, but they need help with their workouts. Or maybe there's some people who they know what to eat, they know what to do in the gym, but they just haven't got the motivation or the mindset for it. So you can see, even in the weight loss industry, you've got 3 pillars that you could be targeting. In business, right, then maybe some of you guys really need to get more leads. Maybe that's the big thing you're looking for. Maybe some of you guys are fine with leads, you're getting more leads than you can handle, but sales is the issue and you're not making those sales. Or maybe your marketing and sales is fine, but customers are leaving and you need to better retention systems. So you'll see that your market, they come for you for different elements. Maybe they need a mix of all of them, but there's going to be a driving pain that they really want to get fixed. So what your content marketing needs to do is have content on each of the different pillars of what you teach, so that you can start segmenting audiences and seeing, okay, these people are interested in this thing. These people are interested in a video on that thing. These people opted in for a report on this pillar. And then you start getting little micro niches, micro audiences inside your content. And that's really important. And you want to make a note of that, because we're going to come back to those micro niches on the next topic we talk about. But your content marketing, really, it's done to build value and trust, to position you as an expert, but also, and most people miss this, it's also designed to create segmented audiences that have micro interests. And you need to collect those, because I'm going to show you what to do with those in your advertising in the next stage of all this. Okay? And you know, the third thing that your content really needs to be doing is collecting lists or subscribers. So people shouldn't just see your content once and go, oh, that was okay. They should see it and go, wow, that's amazing. This guy knows his stuff, or she's the best person I've seen on this. And people will want to follow you and tell their friends and share your stuff on, etc. Okay? So first of all, guys, before I kind of give away my kind of secrets of content marketing, do you have any questions on content marketing? Do you have any specific questions? If you could ask me anything, this is your chance right now, about content marketing, about creating content, or whatever it might be. Now is the time to drop a comment so I can take a look at that. Okay? If not, I'm just going to go into it. Okay? So there are a few different types of content that we create. Okay? So, and different content has different purposes. Okay? So the biggest mistake most coaches and experts make is that they sound too smart. I'll say that again. Most coaches and experts make the mistake of sounding too smart. In fact, they teach too much, right? They teach too much. This is a problem because there's something very important. You need to write this down. Your audience, your prospects who are looking to raise their awareness of why they're struggling with these problems, they're looking for some information on what the problem is and how might they solve it. But here's the thing. Your audience are looking for connection before information. Connection before information. They need to connect with you before they will totally immerse themselves in your information. And you can think about this. You can think of a time where maybe you were looking to buy a car or buy anything really. And think of your favorite coffee shop, right? You can get coffee anywhere, but you probably go to your favorite coffee shop or coffee brand because you feel more of a connection to that place. Okay, it could be a million reasons why, but you feel a connection there. Then you want to decide and learn all the types of coffee they do. Same thing if you're looking to buy a car. You could buy cars anywhere, but you're probably first looking to get a connection with the salesperson. That's why they try so hard for you to like them and to be relatable and have personality skills and things like that. And same thing with your market, guys. So they need to connect with you as a person or as your company brand before they're going to go reading all your tips and watch all your videos and stuff like that. So how do we do that? Well, it actually comes, this is the hardest part for most coaches, but it actually comes from sharing more about your lifestyle than just tips and content. Okay? So people, remember, are looking for someone they can trust. They know they can get information from anywhere. They know they can go onto YouTube and find answers to any question in under a minute. What they really want is to connect with someone who they can see has similar beliefs and values to them. So here's my definition of content marketing, right? First of all, you've got to understand your brand message. And that basically doesn't mean logos or colors or anything like that. It means the core message that you want your business to be known for. And so I put it like this. Your brand is the beliefs, the values, and intentions that you strive to live your life by. And you also teach your clients to do the same. Okay? The brand is the beliefs, values, and intentions you strive to live your life by. Okay? The core values that you have, the main principles that you live by. You have principles for whatever you teach. If you're in fitness, you have principles about fitness. If you're in relationships, you have relationships principles. If you're in business marketing consulting, you have principles about that too. And you also have beliefs around what you think. I'm on this video right now, I'm sharing my beliefs. I'm not telling you this is the only way and everyone else is wrong. I'm just saying these are my beliefs based on my values, and these are my intentions, right? And people that, you guys on here right now that are watching, hopefully you're agreeing and nodding to my beliefs, values, and intentions, and that's why you like my stuff. But there are other people out there who don't agree with my beliefs, my values, or intentions, and they're not for me and I'm not for them, and that's okay. They'll go and find someone who does. My beliefs and values as my brand message, let's say, behind the Expert Business Blueprint. Some of my beliefs are that you deserve a life-changing amount of money and freedom because you help transform other people's lives. So I believe that, for transforming other people's lives, you deserve to have your own life transformed. So I don't believe there's anything wrong with you asking and desiring more and more money and freedom. That then also means that I believe you shouldn't have to work and hustle and grind like a dog to have a business. In fact, I advocate and I believe you should have a business system that works for you and supports your lifestyle rather than you sacrificing your life for the business, which is more like a job. I believe that you can shift your identity to think more like an entrepreneur that works on the business than a solopreneur that only works in the business. These are a few of my beliefs, and if you're watching me, you've heard me say these things over and over and over again, because that's my brand. That's my brand core message that I want you to hear. Think of like Tony Robbins or someone. Think about Tony Robbins, really. Like, how many hours and hours and hours of footage have you seen of his online? Yet, you can probably only take away, 4 or 5 key points from hundreds of hours of Tony Robbins. If you think back about what does Tony Robbins actually share? It's, change your state, be in peak state, raise your standards, right? It's all these simple tenets that all boils down to his beliefs, right? Someone like Jim Rohn is the same. Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins' mentor. He's even simpler. Like his whole entire content, and Jim Rohn's been going for like 40 years, 50 years even maybe. His business is still going today, and he was still teaching all that stuff. And what does Jim Rohn really teach in his content? It's not like 5,900 steps to create a business. No, Jim Rohn would share things like save money, hang out with good people, be a good person, set your goals. It's like simplistic stuff. But these people really build a connection with their audiences because their message, they share beliefs, values, and intentions more than they share tips and tactics and strategies and hacks and stuff like that. And those things are okay, they have a place, but you'll see the biggest names in the industry, the most influential names, they influence because they inspire, they connect. They don't influence because they sound so goddamn smart, right? Those guys are very smart people, and if you're inside their paid programs, you'll hear all their tactics and strategies, right? No doubt about it. But for the front-end market, for their content marketing, to the wider audience who are just feeling them out, they don't try and bog those people down with 100 million tactics and tips, because when you try and do that, you don't actually stand out at all, because people can get that stuff from YouTube or medium.com or a billion other websites in 5 minutes. So if you try and compete, if you use your content marketing to try and compete on information, who's got the best tips, you're gonna fall flat in your face. Well, you are now from 2018 anyway. I mean, maybe before it would have worked, but now everyone's a coach, everyone's on the scene. The easiest thing to do is go back into our ego and say, I'll sound smarter than that guy, or I'll talk more about science than that coach. And people don't care. People don't care about the process of how it all works. They just want to know the result. They just want to know, like, what do I do? Right? It's great and lovely that you're so smart and you've got 27 PhDs or whatever, but they're just really saying, like, I want someone I can connect with that I feel will get me. That's all. And you can do more to create that effect just by posting something a bit more vulnerable about yourself. Talk about your failures more than your successes. That'll do it for you. Okay, you know, a friend of mine, Jamie Alderton, some of you might know him, he's a really big influencer in social media in the weight loss industry. And, you know, he's told me in the past that his most engaged posts, and if you know Jamie, you know, he's a sturdy guy, he's ripped to shreds, he's really good looking, great jawline, all this kind of stuff, right? But his best engaged posts are when he talks about when he has beer and pizza on the weekends, and he talks about, you know, coming off his own diet plan and kind of living a little. That resonates so much with his audience, because then they see, oh wow, he's got these results, obviously, he knows what he's talking about, you know, he's like a walking wall of muscle, basically, but they can see, but oh, he also like has a life, he also has beer and pizzas and doesn't take it all so seriously sometimes. And so they can think, well, if that works for him, then maybe that'll work for me. So sometimes showing your flaws, showing things like that, showing your vulnerable side, share more about things in your life, your aspirations, your hobbies, share things about what's important to you in life. And if you do that, because remember, we're on social media. Social media, they're not teaching platforms. You can give some tips away, but they're not primarily teaching platforms. And that's why, if you look deeper, look into what like I'm doing right now. You know, I'm sharing this with you. You know, I'm in my like shitty little office that I've kind of put together myself. I've got my org chart resting on boxes. You know, I'm in my like gym t-shirt from this morning. You know, because this all helps me connect with you more. Because I'm just being a real person. I'm a real guy that I want you to feel confident, comfortable with. You can reach out, you can talk to me, you can chat to me, you can ask me questions, we can engage, we can have some fun here. But you know how it is, how other people do it. You know, the big like 7-figure product launches and all that. You get the super polished videos, you get all the makeup on them, they've got the perfect shirts, you know, and it's all the kind of like fake walking around like, oh hi, I didn't see you there. Blah, 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 script, and now watch my other 16-part videos, and you'll get the blah, blah, blah formula, right? And again, guys, like that stuff worked at one point because those people were putting a ton of money into advertising and because they were the first ones doing it. But again, now we're moving on. People have seen enough bullshit on social media, they've seen through the fakeness, and now they want to connect with somebody real. So if there's any tip I can give you on content marketing, it's that. Don't try and impress people with your knowledge. Instead, express your personality. Don't try and impress. Instead, express. And that's the difference. And throw, you know, if it's 80% kind of, you know, just shooting off the cuff, talking about your beliefs, your intentions, your values, what you think, what you stand for, what you stand against, why you do what you do, why you love helping people. If that's most of your content marketing, and then you also have 20%, which is some more methodical kind of posts, like here's 10 tips, here's an action plan, here's a mind map, that's cool too. But if you try and only do that, it's not going to work. All right, let me know if that helps first of all. So that's content marketing. That's how we start positioning yourself as a trusted expert in a world full of more and more fakes and fraudsters. Okay, now the next part, to ride out the changes in this industry, it is the desensitization of the market that we talked about. So we talked about the market of desensitized to the typical kind of funnels and stuff like that. So what do we do? What does our marketing strategy actually look like? You've been doing this content marketing, you're building an audience, you're building a following, that's great. You're probably thinking, that's great, Justin. You know, I've got 5,000 followers now, but I need clients. How do I take them from here to being a paid customer? That's where our marketing strategy comes in, or what you call typically your sales funnel. So let's talk about sales funnels or marketing funnels for a moment. So like I said, the big problem here is that, you know, people are desensitized to the typical types of funnels. They've all seen the same landing pages. They've all been promised the same webinars. And after half an hour of like fluff and nonsense, they've left. They all get the same email follow-ups, right? You're probably on, you know, 35,000 email subscription newsletters right now. And you know that every single email is just trying to pitch you something, right? So how do we get around that? Like, how do we make our marketing system different? Because remember, when it comes to the content marketing, you can put a bit more personality, you can put a bit more organicness into that. But when it comes to your marketing funnel, you really need to get that automated largely, because you can't be chasing up like thousands of prospects every day. You need a funnel that can automatically take the most engaged people that are following your content, can kind of say, hey, come over here, opt in your email address, and then we'll take them through a number of steps that will lead them to either paying for your service or maybe having some kind of trial or consultation with you, and then in person they are converted into a customer. So we need to largely automate that process. But how do you do that then, you know, without sounding cookie cutter, without the basic templates and things like that? This is something I've been really thinking hard about over the last year, and we've been testing a lot of stuff. This is where the concept of old marketing versus new marketing comes in. And I talked about this in a video on my personal profile earlier today, but here's the quick version. The old way of marketing funnels would start off, the old way would start by capturing someone's email address, right? You'd literally start your campaign. You'd go to a cold market and you'd make a landing page which gives away a free report or a video series or something, and you would ask for the email address, right? And you would just go to the cold market. You'd target, if you're locally, maybe 100,000 people in your area or maybe 2 million people online. Send out this advert to as many of them as you can and say, hey, random person, you don't know who I am and have no reason to trust me, but click back to my website because I've got an amazing checklist or cheat sheet for you, or free report about the 10, you know, worst things that are going to happen in your life or whatever. And again, people would go, okay, they click, they come to the landing page, they opt in, you know, 10 to 20% opt in for the ebook, and then they're in your funnel, right? And then you have then on the next page is like the tripwire offer, you know, you've heard all these terms. Next page, try and sell them something cheap, right? They tell you they just opted in, so they're hot and ready to buy. Sell them a $9 product. Remember I told you guys, most of this stuff stems from the internet marketers selling cheap ebooks, not people selling trust-based consulting, coaching products. And then if they don't buy your tripwire, then they go into, you know, they get, you know, a daily email for the next 27 years until they buy something. Or they get sent onto your, like, you know, 3-hour webinar, and then the webinar is going to lead them to a consultation call, and then on the call you do the sales stuff. And, you know, again, that has worked up to a point. People will argue this and say, well, that still works. I know people that make money doing that. And true, they do. But just because it's working now for some people who usually have big authority, big influence, big email lists, and they have a lot of money to spend in advertising, and that's because they've been doing this for the last few years and they took advantage when ads were cheap in the early days. But now even these people are seeing that ad costs are going up dramatically. And a lot of big names in the industries, I know because I've worked behind the scenes with a lot of 7- and 8-figure coaches and speakers, are quaking in their boots. They are quaking in their boots because things are changing and they are feeling a bit like dinosaurs right now in the middle of an ice age. Like there's a meteor coming right at them and they're just not sure what to do. But many of them they've made millions, they've got good brand names. They'll continue to ride off those names, or they'll just start doing more and more live seminars and things like that, and they'll just keep the revenue ticking over. But But a lot of people are quaking in their boots because they've built their businesses through cheap Facebook ads, quick funnels, things like that. But now, again, as the market becomes desensitized, it doesn't work as well. So the old way is you'd pay money, you'd pay $1, $2, $3 maybe to get an email address, and you've basically got this person on your list. You grow your list, but you've got a load of people that don't really know you. They opted in for your cheat sheet or whatever it was. They didn't really remember who you were. And what we're trying to do is trying to grab the email address, and then we start trying to build a relationship with them, right? And that doesn't work in the long run. And therefore you end up with, big email lists that don't respond, don't open your emails, and don't convert into customers. Whereas I've always gone the other way of doing more with a lot less. So now, because Facebook ad costs are going up, if it was $2 on average to buy an email subscriber a year ago, it's probably more like $8 to $10 today. So that way of advertising is just not viable for so many people anymore. Getting the email address is harder and harder and more expensive. A, because people are desensitized and have seen it all before. They've got 1 million free reports on their hard drive already. They've seen all the webinars. They've seen all the video series. They haven't got time or attention to watch a 45-minute, 3-part video series all the time. And again, companies like Facebook don't really want you sending traffic to your website. They would rather you keep the traffic on Facebook because then they benefit. So if you run ads, for example, to a live stream like this or a video like this on Facebook, it'll be far, far cheaper. Facebook will keep your costs down to send people to that video. If you try and send people off Facebook to opt in their email address and then try and get them to shop for a webinar, those costs are going to spiral massively right now. Massively, okay? So this is why you can't just look at what big guru name is doing and try and copy them. Because what worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And that, I know, is not the popular opinion, because we all want to have the magic bullet we can just copy and have it guaranteed to work for us, but it doesn't work like that. So, old way of marketing. Capture email address because emails were cheap, then build a relationship by emailing every day forever. Not going to fly anymore. Again, and most of you are seeing that now because the costs are going up and the conversions are going down. Here's the new way of marketing. The new way. Okay, basically, instead of, the old way is very selfish. The old way of marketing says, hey, you don't know me, but you give me your email address and data first, and then I'll give you the cool stuff. That's the old way in a nutshell. But now, the prospects are saying, well, I've seen all the cool stuff because this is the 16th advert this morning offering me a free report on this. So no, screw you, basically, is what they're saying, right? And our costs are going up. The new way of marketing does it the other way around, and we flip that completely. And we now want to give all the value up front to the prospects on social media. Don't make them have to go anywhere. Give the value, bring the value to them. Don't make them opt in for anything. And then build the value, then demonstrate your expertise, build the value, build a following, and then later in the relationship, you can draw them back to, your deeper funnel stuff, maybe a sales consultation or a trial or whatever it's going to be, and then get the email address. So now basically we still collect the email address. We want to have an email list, but we now focus on the email list being a smaller part of what we do, and that the emails that we do collect, they're from people that are actually ready to take action. There's a big difference. Please pay attention to this, right? Because no one talks about this, but there's a big difference. What do you think would be better? You tell me. What do you think is going to make you more money? An email list with 1,000 people that are on that list because they opted in for a cheat sheet, compared to 1,000 people on an email list that opted in for a free consultation with you. right? It's both 1,000 people. But these ones shown that they were just looking for more information, for like cheat sheets, quick fixes. Whereas this 1,000 people said, I'm considering taking action in talking to somebody about my problem. There's a massive difference there. And I've always, for the last 4 years at least, focused on building this email list. That's why my content marketing has been such a big part of what I do. Whilst everyone else is hiding their content, hiding the ball and saying, hey, when you give me your email address, then I'll send you 29 million emails with the good stuff. I'm thinking, you don't want to read emails all day. You want to be on Facebook. You want to be on LinkedIn. You want to, find cool content like this. So I'm going to bring the content to you, dump it here on your lap. You can take it, leave it, tune in, tune out, whatever. Those who really like it will stay, and my system will track the engagement and tell me who likes it the most. And then those of you who are most engaged in my content, and only you guys, will I then give you follow-up opportunities to get more stuff. And that's when later on in the relationship is when we'll say, hey, maybe now you've watched some of my videos, you've got my mind map, you've had this, you've been in my group. Would you now like to talk to one of my team about potentially being a client on my program and implementing all this stuff, right? And that is when then, in the case of my funnel, for example, you can go and book a call with one of my program directors. So I get the email at that stage. So again, old way of marketing, capture emails from strangers, try and build a relationship with them, right? New way of marketing, give the value first, come to social media, come to where your prospects are, come to where they want to be. Don't try and drag them kicking and screaming away. Give them value, and those who want more, they can be invited into your email sequence later. You'll have a much lower size email list, but they will convert a lot more. And it's really about quality over quantity. It always comes back down to that. Whenever you get stuck or worry about tactics or what should I do, always think quality beats quantity. I've made more money from a 6,000 person email list than people I know in my industry who have a list of 30,000. Because they built the list of people that weren't really interested. Okay, whereas I built my real list of followers on Facebook, on social media, found who were most responsive, and pulled that small segment through into my funnel. And therefore my funnel works a lot better. So you see, a funnel working is not so much about what you have in the funnel. It's not about what's in the funnel. Like, should I have a video? Should I have a webinar? Should it be this? It's not about what's in the funnel. It's about who is in that funnel. That's the difference. Who is in that pipeline? So think about that. Write that one down if anything, guys. It's not about what's in your funnel. It's about who is in there. That's what's going to affect the conversion rates. Because I can show you a dead simple, brain dead simple landing page where I get an 80% conversion rate. And then someone else uses the exact same model and they get less than 10%. And it's because of who we were showing the page to. You show that model to a cold audience, they don't care. You show it only to people that are most highly engaged, they all sign up for it. And that's the truth on that. All right, guys, so any questions, drop them in. Going to wrap up then with the final point. Okay, so we've talked about the opportunity of the growing market and the challenge of the fake experts. And we talked about how to solve that in this year. That's going to be really stepping up your content marketing and connecting with your audience. That's a major thing coaches and experts have to do from this year onwards. Secondly, we talked about sales funnels, your marketing strategy, how we turn those content followers into customers. And we talked about that people are desensitized to most typical internet marketing funnels. And the way to be different is to change from the old way of marketing, which is capture a list, then try and sell, to instead give good value, show up, and then you'll capture a list. And the third pillar out of all of this then is the technology, right? all the technology and tools and advanced tactics that allow us to do all this stuff in the marketing funnel, all the follow-ups, all the segmentation, right? Now, of course, there are millions of different tools and tactics we can use. And so the opportunity, you only can take advantage of this opportunity when you get a clear plan in place. Most coaches and consultants are totally overwhelmed because there's just too many. It's not because they don't know what to do, it's because they don't know what to do first, is what I believe. So the first thing is get your content marketing plan down. Know what you're going to post every day, how you're going to connect with your audience. Secondly, get that sales funnel kind of system dialed in, where you're only going to get people into your funnel that are most engaged on your content marketing and social media first. And then finally, to optimize that funnel and to follow up with people, we can use some tools and software. So here are some basic tools and technology I would recommend. Okay, first of all, you want an automated CRM system. And this is like the thing where you collect email addresses and send out emails and so on. Now, I recommend Active Campaign. Active Campaign. Because Active Campaign, it's got some really cool features, easy to create and auto schedule emails to go out. It's got really good segmentation features and really, really good automation stuff. So basically what I do in Active Campaign is something like this. Somebody opts in for my free guide, let's say. They opt in for the free guide on the landing page. That sends that contact into my Active Campaign system. Now, I've set it up on Active Campaign so that they get an email follow-up sequence, but it's not an average, like, same boring email every day thing. My email sequence is based on something called behavioral dynamic response marketing, which I first learned from Frank Kern years ago. And this means that each contact in each email subscriber gets an individual series of emails based on their actions inside my funnel. So if they land on certain pages and not on other pages, Active Campaign it'll work with your website and track who landed on which page, and it can actually stop email sequences going to someone and send out a different email sequence based on a page a person has landed on, right? Also, you can change sequences if they open an email or don't open an email. So for me, if someone comes in, they get the first email in my sequence, if they don't open that email, the system the next day sends them a reminder for that email. So it won't send them different stuff, it'll just send another email that says, hey, you haven't read this thing yet. And that will continue 3 or 4 times. Now, if they go through 3 or 4 days and don't open any of the reminders, that means they're just not engaged in my email system. So then this Active Campaign links up with Facebook, and it tells Facebook, hey, this person isn't engaging with our emails. Maybe they forgot they signed up or whatever. So instead, let's send them an advert on their Facebook feed, which will re-engage them. And maybe then we send them some content in a Facebook post or a link to a blog post or something like that, right? You can do that with Active Campaign. It hooks up to your Facebook and hooks up to your web pages, and it can track the behavior and send out customized messages. And that's fantastic because it means that every lead in your system gets a more individual experience. They get more relevant content to them. And if they say, I don't want to hear more about nutrition, then if they only want to hear more about fitness, it can then send them our fitness related emails and not nutrition ones. You see how that works? So you can design the system to send emails based on their preference. This way people love your content more people open your emails, more people read them, you get better positive feedback because they're only getting stuff they want to hear about, and the lead feels they have more control over the experience. Whereas if you just bombard them with the same emails over and over and over again, then they just know they're being stuffed through a funnel. You give the control back to the user and say, hey, based on your preferences, our system is going to use its AI to send you what you want to see. And of course, ultimately that leads to more people becoming customers at the end of it, right? So ActiveCampaign is a great tool. You can get started on ActiveCampaign for like $9 a month, depending on how many email addresses you have. It starts at $9 and it's got packages going all the way up. Right now, I think I pay about $100 a month for it, right? With all the pro features and everything else. Another thing you might want to use are messenger bots. Now, messenger bots, they just do the same thing as emails, really. They just send out more follow-up messages. And I use a thing called ManyChat for that. That's ManyChat, ManyChat. And yeah, I won't go into messenger bots. They just do exactly what ActiveCampaign can do, but on Facebook Messenger pop-ups. And that's really cool because you get more people seeing the messages, and again, keeps people on social media. So that's the only 2 bits of tech I'm going to recommend right now, because you can do so much with those, with a basic website or your ClickFunnels or lead pages or whatever you use, with a couple of tools like that to follow up. Then you put that content marketing plan, and that's all you need. You don't need to invest hundreds and thousands into other software and tools and things like that. Those 2 tools alone, ManyChat or at least just ActiveCampaign, that's it's all I've relied on for years to grow my business and nurture the leads in my funnel. So that pretty much wraps up the state of the expert industry address. Basically, we've talked about some big picture philosophies. We've talked about some hands-on tactics and strategies. There's a lot of information there, I know, and of course, I don't expect you to apply it all straight away. But if you do want to look at working together with me one-to-one, doing my mentoring program, you can always check out the link as posted above here. You'll see a video, first of all, that will first explain the 5 pillars that we go through in my mentoring program. And then if it sounds good, if it makes sense to you, if it sounds like something that is going to help you and you qualify for the program, then you can just follow the next steps and you can chat to one of our team, and they'll be happy to answer all your questions and see if it's right for you. So that's pretty much it for now. Okay, I hope to see you again next week. It's going to be at the same time next week. We're going to do 1 hour. We have a brand new topic for you next week. But for now, this is the state of the expert industry address overall. Stand out as an expert. Don't mind the fake experts coming in. You can stand out by connecting with your audience with content marketing. The content marketing game needs to be strong this year, stronger than ever. Secondly, adopt the new way of marketing. Give value first and then lead people into your funnel. Don't try and do it the other way around. And third of all, be aware there's plenty of tech and software and tools and all kind of things out there. But if you start with ActiveCampaign, that will be the best starting point for you, because it'll allow you to follow up automatically with your prospects and turn more of them into customers by giving them a more relevant experience. All right, guys, so thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys again next week. I'm going to hop off right now and jump on a group mentoring call with my mastermind clients, and I will see you guys next time.